let me show you a picture here. Right now, when you look at this image, you might think it looks a little bit confusing, but by the end of this unit, you should be very comfortable at looking at a diagram such as this. This is a line drawing of an organic molecule, and what you should be able to recognize by the end of all of this is what the lines represent, what the end of the line represents, and what the corners always represent. You should recognize that on this particular molecule, there are 3 functional groups. So you'll learn what the term functional group means. So you can learn that this is a line drawing. Yep. And that there's 3 functional groups on this particular line drawing. By the time we're finished here, you ought to be able to write the molecular formula just by looking at this line drawing. Okay, this squiggly line here, we are not going to cover this. This just means that this particular, there's a methyl group here, and you'll know what that is, can be above the plane of the paper or behind the plane of the paper. There's a little section in your chapter 10, and when we get to it, I'll tell you we're going to skip it. It's more than we need to know, and I'm abbreviating this unit a little bit, just a little bit. So there's certain things that we won't know, but I will tell you enough so that you have a basic understanding of the basic nomenclature for organic chemistry and some basic organic chemical reactions that can help you understand the applications and how it applies to you. All right, so this particular line drawing is also represented here in this ball and stick drawing. Okay, this is the exact same molecule. And you can see that the slight difference is where that squiggly line was in that same position. And here, this the black sphere is a carbon, and the white spheres are hydrogens. So this is a CH3 unit, and it's either coming above the plane or it's sort of going down in the plane, and that's why that was squiggly line on the line drawing to indicate that. All right. The name of this particular compound happens to be mephedrone. Not meth, but mephedrone. I'm not going to expect you to know common names and be able to match their structure, but I am going to tell you that this particular compound is what we call a designer drug. And by the end of the 4 weeks, you'll know what a designer drug is, and you'll know how relatively easy it is to make designer drugs. There's a common name for this compound called mephedrone, and when we start talking about naming organic molecules, we call that nomenclature, organic nomenclature. There's also an IUPAC systematic name. I'm not going to expect you to name complicated molecules using that systematic name either. That's something that you would do if you took organic chemistry, which you wouldn't take until you were a sophomore in college. Okay, so we're not going to get into the sophisticated names, but you'll start noticing some common features in these molecules, and I'll expect you to name some of the smaller molecules, and when we get to it, you'll know what my expectations of you are. All right. So by the end of the unit, the bottom line is this should not look foreign to you. Naming and recognizing some more common names of organic molecules, knowing what a designer drug is what we're going to be covering over the next 4 weeks. All right. So the moral of the story here is that a little bit of basic knowledge about organic chemistry can go a long way in helping you to be an informed consumer and also an informed and productive citizen. All right, so I just that's the goal of the next 4 weeks, and I have some extra things that I'd like you to read that I've pulled off the internet and whatnot that are relevant right now. For example, the mephedrone is relevant right now, so that's not quite in your textbook yet, but I've pulled some extra information that I'm going to expect you to keep up with as we move along. All right, and I also want to tell you, but before you view lecture 14, I'd like for you to complete in your small groups a POGL exercise called Molecular Representations, and also another POGL exercise called Alkane Nomenclature. This will get us started with the organic chemistry. We're just going to cover a little bit of basic organic chemistry first, and then once we get into talking in details about polymers and drugs, if you have this basic information down, it'll help the conversation go and things will make more sense to you. So I'd like for you to take a little bit of time to do those two POGO activities before you move on and view lecture 14.